Beauty is, to me, I feel like it comes from within. And obviously, aesthetics, we're doing things on the outer, but when you look good, you feel good, and it all works together. Beauty is from within for sure, but when you look good, you feel good. So, yeah.
Welcome to the Beauty Talk podcast, where we feature how the best medical practitioners help their patients to look better, younger, and healthier. Now, enjoy the show, and here's your host.
Daniel Gao here. I'm the host of Beauty Talk, where we feature the top medical practitioners in health and beauty, both inside and out. I have Cynthia Chairez, the founder and lead injector of Synthetic MediSpa. With over 11 years in the medical aesthetic industry, she specializes in advanced aesthetic treatments for full facial balancing and harmonization tailored specifically for each patient. Known for her natural, confidence-boosting results, Cynthia combines medical expertise with an artistic eye to create customized treatment plans for each patient. Along the side of her medical director, she has built a thriving medical aesthetics practice while also mentoring providers and leading a high-performance team. Her passion is making patients look refreshed, balanced, and empowered without breaking the bank. So, Cynthia, welcome and glad to have you here.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's start at the very top, or I guess the very beginning. How did you
Okay.
get interested in the medical field?
So it all started. My sister actually was very sick when she was about in her teen years. So I was about, let's say, like 19. So I saw kind of like the process of her being in the hospital and all that. I was actually going to school to do psychology. So once I kind of got into like the hospital field, I was like, oh, this is something, I would want to do. This is something that I would be passionate about. So she was actually an LVN as well.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, I want to do this. So I started as an LVN and then I just worked my way up to an RN.
Okay.
Mhm,
And when was the transition where you decided you wanted to get into
mhm.
the aesthetic side of medicine?
Yeah. So I started working at a med spa when I was about like probably like in like my early 20s while I was going to school as an RN. So I was like, okay, this is my, the job I'm gonna have until I finish school. And once I become an RN, I'm gonna work in a hospital like every other nurse back there. Aesthetics wasn't like a big thing, 10,
Mhm.
11 years from now. So it was very like taboo. And so I was like, this is not something I'd want to do. But it grew on me after I pretty much worked there for 3 years with this aesthetic doctor. I really fell in love with aesthetics, like kind of like from the beginning with people that were like with self-esteem issues, people that, just wanted to fix little things, that how much it boosted them. And it's pretty much helping patients in a whole nother way,
Mhm.
which I loved.
Okay. And
Mhm.
then what made you decide to start your own practice?
So that took a while for sure. Taking a leap of faith for sure, it happened. So I pretty much built kind of like any other like I would say beauty industry, you
Mhm.
build your clientele. So you pretty much everyone follows you, kind of like the person that does your hair, your nails, men haircuts, you want to go to the same person.
Mhm.
So, once you build your clientele and that trust, I was like, okay, well, I kept seeing my regulars and I worked at, you know, 5, 10 other med spas already until I was like, okay, I think I could do this on my own now. Like I saw the structure, I would sometimes run the whole med spa by myself, knew literally the ins and outs, how to order, like the legality of how to open a med spa. And I was like, okay, I think I could do this. I was finally financially stable to do it and take the leap. Then about 5 years after doing aesthetics, I was like, okay, I could do this on my own. And I started in like a little, rental spot, which is just like a little suite, and then, go to a suite with 2 rooms. And then now I'm like in a full on standalone business with
Mhm.
4 treatment rooms and a full on staff, which I love.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Well, now that you have your own practice, I want to dive into some of the treatments that are
Mhm.
your patients really come to you for.
Yeah.
And I was talking about facial balancing first.
Mhm.
So for people who have no idea what facial balancing is, what is?
Yeah. So facial balancing is pretty much like it's all about proportion and structure. So not just volume. So when people think filler, you mean you're filling an area to make it something augmented. So it's pretty much about facial harmonization to your own features. So say like it's like a ratio. So they'll say like your nose, your lips, and your chin have to like proportionally touch to be considered balanced. So say you have like a bigger lip, but your chin kind of goes down. So you won't need all the other areas in your face. You had a little bit of chin filler or any other product on your chin, and then they pretty much elongates your face to make it look more balanced. So everyone's a little different. So it could include Botox, it could include filler, it could include biostimulators, it could include thread. So it's really tailored per person.
Okay, so basically,
Hmm.
someone comes in, you take a look at what is the goals
Hmm.
they want to achieve, what is their facial
Yeah.
structure, and then from there,
Yes.
you come up with the treatment plan for them.
Yes. Uh-huh. So it could either be like, say someone has, big masseters and they really actually they came in for their lips. But if you see, oh, well, their chin is recessed. If I were to add more volume in their lips, it's just going to look like their chin is shorter and your face will not be balanced anymore. So it's all about balancing to your own proportions, pretty much, of your
Mm,
face.
okay.
Hmm.
And I guess how often is the situation? Because I think when people maybe they've heard of facial balancing, but they don't
Yeah.
understand the nuances of it. So how often
Hmm.
do you get a situation where someone comes in and says, "Hey, I want to get this done,"
Yeah.
and you have to tell them that, "Hey, actually, if you do
Hmm.
that, you're going to be out of proportion. It's not going to look good."
Yeah. It happens a lot, actually. There's some people are like willing to hear it out. There's some people that are really stubborn. They're like, no, just I want my lips, and that's all I want. I don't want you to do anything else, which is great. I respect what they want. Will I do it? Probably not, just because
Mhm.
it's not going to be proportioned and it's not going to look good.
Mhm.
But if, say, I think it happens probably like 2 or 3 times a day where they're like coming for one thing, and it's like the more obvious one is like the chin.
Mhm.
A lot of people forget about the chin, and that's one of the biggest part of the face that you can balance out. Also, like when they're folds, the nasolabial folds, everyone wants to lift and fill the fold, but they'll still have bottom heaviness. So adding it to like the outer cheek, the mid cheek will kind of lift that area. So strategically, or even in the temples, putting it in strategic places to still address the area of concern is what we need to do for sure.
Okay. And
Mhm.
then how often is it on a different situation that people come and say,
Mhm.
"Oh, I want to uh, get bigger lips,"
Yeah.
but then you're like, "Okay, well, to get bigger lips so that you're still balanced, you need to also add this and this and this and this and this as well."
Hmm.
How
Yeah,
often does
it's
that
kind of
happen?
hard. It happens a lot, not point where like it because you don't want to sound salesy either. You want it because it is kind of like this is a whole different part of nursing in the medical field to where you don't want to they might feel like, oh, she just wants me to buy more, obviously, because it's you're selling. But I'll create a plan. I'll tell them you don't have to do everything at once. You could start little. We could do a little bit on your lips, or we could compromise because she really wanted to do her lips. So we'll do like a half syringe. I'm like, yeah, but it would be more important if you did your chin as well. This is what it'll look like. And then we have like apps on our tablets that can show them like, okay, if you did this, this is what your chin will look like. And they could have a visual of like, oh yeah, that actually makes a big difference. And then I'll say augment the lip and be like, okay, this is if we did too much lip filler, this is what you're gonna look like. See how it's not balanced. So the fact that we could show them is like, oh, okay, now I know what you're talking about. So they see it like in person pretty much.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's
most
really,
people will go with it. Yeah, if I
yeah.
mean, there's always like a budget issue. There's always going to be something. We always work around it. So it's just like a treatment plan that's important.
Okay. Well, that's really cool. I didn't even
Hmm.
know that that thing was out there where you can kind of like be like, oh, if you add this, you'll look like this. If you add this, you'll look like.
Yeah.
I guess it helps to clarify for a lot of people that if they have doubts, then just come in, use the app, and
Hmm.
have an idea of what they're going to look like.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Makes it
Now,
easier.
now I'm sure that you mentioned you get some people that are kind of stubborn, but I'm sure also on the other end you get people that just they feel like they're impossible to treat. What
Yeah.
situations would that be where people come in feeling like that? And kind of as a
Yeah.
follow up to that, what do you do to try and help those types of people?
Yeah. So there's kind of like two ranges. There's people that they feel like it's impossible. Kind of like I had an instance with a patient that she had a cleft lip
Mm,
and she's like, I know when I can't fix it. This is where I'm stuck. And, I could tell them this, we could add a little bit of filler. We could soften the scarring and it'll look more proportionate. And that's something we could fix. Someone with like say Bell's palsy and they have paralysis of some part of the face, we could inject the other side of the face and it could make it look more symmetrical. So kind of like the loss of their mentality where they're like, oh, I have no fix, but we can fix it. That's my favorite.
mm,
But there is the other side to where like very nitpicky, more like it's more like a psychological issue with like knowing, very like, oh, well, I have this little bit here, like more nitpicky to where like we can't make it look perfect.
mm,
It just is what it is. There's not we can't do everything perfect. So there's a lot of patients where like you have to say no, or if it's more like a self-esteem thing or it's more psychological, then it's okay to say no because they'll never be happy. And there's many instances where I've seen where they'll come in, they'll get something done, pay all this money to get like say their chin done, and they come back after 2, 3 weeks after it settles, and they'll be like, I don't like it. Perfect, we could dissolve it. And then we dissolve it, we wait another 2, 3 weeks, like actually I want it again. So I was like, okay, so maybe there's another underlying issue that's happening, or you're pinpointing something that is really not that important, and it's actually goes deeper rooted than just, oh, I want my chin bigger. It's more like a
Mhm.
self-esteem thing, which
Okay.
is, yeah, that's something we have to fix.
Yeah, yeah. Do you get
Yeah.
instances of people coming in with that body dysmorphia where they just view themselves
Hmm.
very differently than from reality?
Yeah, I haven't had many, but I've had a few to where it is, it's their reality is not the same. They see something way different than we see in the mirror. And I mean, I tell them, like, I try to validate and be like, I know you see yourself in the mirror every day. I'm seeing you for the first time, but I don't see what you see. And if I don't see what you see, then that means I can't fix it because my eyes are the ones injecting you.
Hmm.
So sometimes I'll be like, oh, maybe, it's okay to be like, maybe I'm not the nurse for you because I really don't see what you see, and it's okay to say no sometimes.
Okay.
Hmm.
And now, what would you say are some of the other common misconceptions or myths that you hear from your patients? I mean, I think we talked about already about like the facial bouncing, the people thinking that maybe they're just really hard to treat. But what
Yeah.
are some other common misconceptions you hear?
Oh, well, just, the duck lips and the fake, and like
Mm,
it doesn't, they think just like obviously it's you're putting something foreign in your body, it's bad for you. There's just a lot of like the fakeness. Like, I don't want to look fake.
mm,
There's a way of aesthetics to make it look natural and you could enhance without overfilling. And there is a very fine line of natural and overfilling. And it's okay. That's another point where like there's a lot of nurses and a lot of providers that do not say no. But if you find the right person that will be like, okay, no, I think it's enough, you look great, like there's no need to put more, then I feel like then you found that your right injector for sure.
okay. And
Mhm.
what do you wish is something that your patients knew before they came in to see you?
I just hope, honestly, like it just depends. If like their goals, that's what I want. I want them to know what they want to achieve, because sometimes they'll come in here and they'll be like, okay, well, you tell me what I want. And I was like, well, I can't tell you what you want. I was like, you're do whatever. And I was like, well, no, what are your goals? And I'll give them the mirror. I'm like, what do you like? What are we here for? Because to me, you're beautiful. What do you? I don't see you every day. Like, if then I'm like, I don't want to point out something that you never saw, and then I point it out, and that's all you see, because
Mm,
that's another thing too. So if they don't ask me for my opinion of like, oh, like what else do you think, then I don't mention it either. So if it's something that's going to be major, just that they're doing something that it's going to completely, you know, make their face look worse or something, then no. But if it's something they're like, okay, well, say they come in for, their, because I've gone to appointments myself to that thing, and then they'll point out like my weight or something like that, because we do weight loss, we do IV therapy, we do other things, and it's like that's where it's the fine line of like the boundaries, and it's
mm,
like the salesy part of the aesthetic world and then the sales part, to where like if they don't ask, then don't tell, is what I pretty
mm.
much tell our staff.
Good to know.
So
Okay.
just they need to know their goals when they
Yeah.
come in.
Okay, that's good. Now, I want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about how you grew your team. I mean, when it
Hmm.
comes to medical practices,
Yeah.
growing a team is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Can I talk a little bit about your journey? Like, how were you able to grow your team, and how is that uh, in results also
Mhm.
affected your patients and like the experience they have when they come into your practice?
Yeah. So, I mean, we have different, obviously, roles. There's receptionists, there's MAs, which are medical assistants, and then there's our injectors. So I feel like everyone has their own role, of course. So depending on the role, so starting in when the patient walks in, um, the receptionists, are they friendly? Are they attentive? Are they greeting the patients? Are they offering, a water? Where's the bathroom? Like, oh, how much time they have to wait, or can you take a seat? So attentiveness with reception is a big key, especially like having someone bubbly. Like, I wouldn't, that's pretty much the face of the company when they're walking in, right?
Mhm.
So I make sure that they're like more talkative, more like, I pretty much interview everyone, and along with my medical director, and we kind of agree like, okay, yeah, she's a good fit, and like we don't just hire anyone. So make sure the person kind of blends in with everyone as well, that way we could all get along, because I feel like it's a team, it's having leadership, having a structure is great as well. And with, say, we were getting a new injector, obviously, our medical director hires all our injectors. So he makes sure he does the skills part. So he has to make sure that they're skilled, that they have the good consult skills. If they are the type that overfill, are they the type that are more natural? Because every office is different. There's some that cater to people that love to be overfilled. There's offices that, oh, just sell, 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 it's fine. There's places that I even worked at, they'd be like, okay, you have a $5,000 sales for this, a goal. So pretty much we'll have a meeting and they'll be like, okay, you have a $5,000 goal for today, instead of being like, oh, okay, make sure you take your time with your patients. Like, we don't have any of that. We don't have a sales goal, or we don't make commission. We don't do any of that. So it's all about patient safety. So that's a big thing too. So not like sales driven is what we like, is because it's still a medical practice.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure attentiveness, make sure we all get along.
Mhm.
We're pretty much a sisterhood here. Yeah, we love it here.
Okay.
Hmm.
And how is that, I guess, culture, team that you've built, how does
Hmm.
that reflect in the care that you provide to your patients?
I just feel like when they come in here, they feel like they even ask us if we're related, all of us. They'll be like, "Oh, is that your sister?" And I was like, "No, but I mean, she's my soul sister."
There you go.
Yeah, or they'll be like, "Yeah, they'll literally, we don't look nothing alike," and everyone's like, "You guys sound like you guys are related." So I don't know. I just feel like you kind of just feel it if you like kind of bond with someone or not. We're here with each other, so if you feel like two people don't get along, especially in aesthetics, we're all mostly women, you know it can get catty, it can get competitive, it can't, so
Mhm.
we have to make sure we all kind of get along, same personality, like same drive to work. And if we don't have that within our team, then I feel like the patients feel that, they feel the tension, they feel like, oh, this is awkward, I feel the energy that is off. So I feel like having that makes a big difference in how we care with our patients as well. They see the
Okay.
bond.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, Cynthia, let's say that somebody is looking at getting a aesthetic procedure done or treatment done or something, but
Hmm.
they don't know who to go to. What advice would you give to this person to help them in their search so that they do find that provider who is really good,
Hmm.
is knowledgeable, has experience, and just can take care of them ethically?
Yeah. So when they first are searching for someone, I always say check credentials. So say you pop up for synthetic medi, let me Google this place. Do they have a website? Do they have a medical director? Because the biggest thing is I mean, they could be a nurse, but do they have a medical director? Because there's no way you could operate without having a medical director. It's kind of
Mhm.
like giving medications in a hospital and there's no doctor to write the order.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. So making sure they have a medical director, making sure they have like a booking link, make sure you're going to an actual office and not someone's backyard.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, checking that. They should have all the nurses' names like in their website. You could search them and they'll find their license number. So after like all that, they'll come into the office and say they are a nurse. They're like, make sure they introduce themselves. Like, hey, I am Cynthia. I'm going to be your aesthetic nurse today, or I'm the RN here. Once they could identify themselves, if I say RN, that means they still need a medical clearance. So as an RN in California, I can't give them a medical clearance. It has to be a nurse practitioner or above.
Mhm.
So I'll be like, okay, so I'm going to do your consult, but our nurse practitioner is going to do a medical clearance before. So if you're not getting a medical clearance from someone that's above an RN, so like an MP or a PA or an MD, that's also a red flag right there.
Mhm.
Um, People opening your product in front of you, if you're asking for a lot number, they should be okay with like, asking for a lot number, and they're like, oh, well, why do you want that? Do you not trust me? And it's like any like medication, you're opening it, it should be openly available for anyone.
Mhm.
So just little red flags. And then aside from like the legality part, I would say for looks. So if you are going to a nurse and they're more natural, but you want something really dramatic, then their definition of beauty is based on the nurse. So if I look a little overdone, that's my definition of beauty. So I'm going to
Mhm.
probably think to do the same thing for my patients. So if you want something more natural and you're like, okay, I kind of like what she looks like because she looks more natural and I do lots of stuff to myself,
Mhm.
but it doesn't look overdone. So that's another thing too. So looking for someone that can get your goals right as well, can
Very good
achieve your
advice.
goals.
Yeah, very, very good
Mhm.
advice. You did bring up the as far as like make sure you're not going to someone's backyard or getting worked on and they're going
Yeah.
through something.
Hmm.
What's the potential dangers if someone goes down that route to try and save some money?
Well, there's always a risk of infection. It's not in a controlled place. Say you do go to someone's garage and it's super clean, great. But say something goes wrong, and can you go back there and know that, like, oh, like, can I sue this person? Can I go back and be like, hey, like, this is where I got it done. Will they be back there? Probably not, because they're just
Mm-hmm.
renting the area. Infection. There's the legality part. They could be injecting you with counterfeit products, just because the only way to be getting um, Botox fillers, anything that's aesthetics, you have to have an MD. So most people that do this as a side hustle, they don't have an MD, that do it in their, illegally. They don't have an MD that they're buying it. So how are you buying product that you're not getting from a doctor, or like the, main allergan, or like from a rep themselves? Because you have to open an account with them with an MD license. So you're always risking the fact that it could be fake. Most likely is they're getting it from China or anywhere of these like gray market places, because it's all over the place now. People are literally injecting their own Botox, and people on TikTok are showing them how and where to buy it and how to do it. So yeah, we're in this crazy part right now with aesthetics, and they'll be like, okay, well, to each their own at their own risk, but they know that they should be knowing what they're risking now.
Okay, good to know. Now,
Mhm.
with your approach to patient care, how important do you think it is to have an artistic eye in what you do?
Oh, definitely. I feel like I always compare it to, say, I know you're a male, but like someone that does their makeup. Any woman can do their makeup, right?
Mhm.
But is it going to look as good as someone that does it professionally, like a makeup artist? Like my makeup does not look the same as soon, because they have that artistic eye. So they know where, where I need my eyeliner. Same thing. I know where to inject you, to where Botox can be lifted, where your eyebrows are lifted. It's like a keen eye. I feel like aesthetics is for sure. And you have to have an eye for it. And I train people where I'll be like, okay, like if you wanted to make them more symmetrical, where would you inject? And they're gonna like, I don't know. Like, okay, then this might not be for you. Just because you're a nurse doesn't mean, it's like one part of nursing where it's not like you could just go into it and succeed at it, because it is hard. There's a lot that goes into it, versus, working in a telemetry floor. Like, yes, we all learned this in school. We didn't learn aesthetics in school. So it is a learned trait for sure.
Okay. Now, I'm
Hmm.
sure that throughout your experience, you've had some memorable cases or maybe even challenging cases that you've had to work on. Is there maybe one
Hmm.
story that you can share of just one of those cases and ultimately how you were able to get a good result in the end?
Yeah. I had a patient, I mean, back to the cleft lip as well. She had about, I would say she had mentioned like about 10 surgeries to help with her scarring on her cleft lip. She got discharged from her surgical team, saying that, okay, this is as good as it's gonna get. This is it, So she reached out and said, I've been doing my research and I've heard that lip filler can help my scarring. And she's like, I'm too scared. I don't feel like it's gonna look good, and I don't want it to look like worse. So she came in, we assessed her. Her scarring was not as thick as I thought it would be, because she got it when she was really young. So we were able to pretty much fill her the lip to where the scarring almost hid, and you really couldn't tell that she had any aesthetic work at all. She had a little bit of the scarring, but she just felt so much more. Um, Her self-esteem just went up so much more. She was just so happy with it. She's been coming to me for, I would say, a good 4 years. She'll do her touch-ups, and she's done other little areas now, and she feels so confident. But she said like she thought she was going to be stuck with this scar for the rest of her life. And then now she's just so happy. She loves her results. So I feel like that was one that really stuck with me, because I feel like she was so appreciative, and she loved her results, and it just stuck with me because it helped her a lot in her life.
Wow.
Hmm.
I love when people share stories like that because when people think
Hmm.
about the aesthetics industry, I think that the regular person might think of it of, oh, it's just about vanity, it's just about maximizing your look.
Yeah.
But stories like this is just someone that just wants to look normal. Like they just want
Yeah,
to get the
exactly.
confidence. It's not trying to be vain, it's just they want to look normal. And I think
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, I think that's like the piece that's missing that people don't understand about the aesthetics industry. It's just helping people get their confidence back.
Yeah, you're helping people. You're because it's nursing. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Like, you're just making people look fake, and it's
Mm,
not like at all. It's like you're helping people's self-esteem. You're helping people, move on with their lives. I got in many people that had just gone through a divorce or gone through something, a breakup, or like, like again, like the Bell's palsy, something medical. It could also be, emotional to where like a divorce and they want to get back out there and they can't because they don't feel good. And you do something, a little something like this, it helps her. I have people like cry in my chair and they'll be like, I can't believe that, that I feel so much better. I'm going to go out there and thank you so much. And it's really rewarding for sure.
okay. Now, Cynthia,
Mhm.
where do you think the future of aesthetics is going?
We're headed towards the more natural to the more, not the bigger lip anymore, not the overdone, just kind of like the subtle but effective in aesthetics. I feel like we're doing more natural treatments, like more biostimulating stuff, to where it's more regenerative medicine, like with the PRP, with the stem cells, the exosome, the peptides, all that, to where you're growing your own collagen and something that just more natural versus you injecting and filling. And I feel like I love where it's going. It's evolving. I feel like we're always going to have this. We even had aesthetics during COVID and no one's looking at your face. You're having a face mask on. But honestly, where aesthetics isn't going anywhere, it just evolves to where like any other trends, they change and they get better with time. So I'm excited for where aesthetics is going now for sure.
Okay. And with the future in
Mhm.
mind, what is your vision for your practice, synthetic med spa?
Well, my vision is for it to grow for sure. We want to be in different areas of SoCal, just grow and have it be, our little family just grow and have it kind of in SoCal. So hopefully we'll be seeing us later in other parts of the world here.
Awesome. Okay.
Hmm.
Cynthia, I have one last question for you, but before I ask it,
Sure.
I do want to point people to your website at
Hmm.
syntheticmedi.com.
Yes.
Now, last question is, what does
Hmm.
beauty mean to you?
Beauty is, to me, I feel like it comes from within. And obviously, aesthetics, we're doing things on the outer, but when you look good, you feel good, and it all works together. Beauty is from within for sure, but when you look good, you feel good. So, yeah.
Okay, well, there you have it, Cynthia sharing
Yeah.
expertise. So, Cynthia, where can people contact you in your practice?
You could do it on our website at syntheticmedi.com. We have Instagram also at syntheticmedi. You could send us a DM. We have consults, virtual consults, our phone number as well. We have our phone number and all our contact information on our website. So that'd be perfect.
Awesome. Well,
Mhm.
Cynthia, this is great. Thank you for coming on and thank you for sharing your expertise.
Thank you so much, Daniel. It was great.
Thanks for listening to the Beauty Talk podcast. Any questions, please contact the practice directly with the contact information provided during the show. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.